Well, good morning. Thank you for joining us today for the pre-bid webinar on the City of Birmingham's Energy Efficiency and Conservation Block Grant, or EECBG, request for proposals. My name is Sarah Wilson, and I serve as Deputy Director with the Department of Innovation and Economic Opportunity. I'll be walking you through today's session. The purpose of this webinar is to provide you with an overview of the RFP, share requirements and deadlines, and ensure that your questions get answered. There's a space in the chat for questions, and to make the best use of our time today and to ensure transparency across the process, we will respond to all questions publicly and in writing. The questions we gather today and those that you submit in writing before the end of this week will be posted online. I'll provide further detail later on in the presentation about that. Awesome. So here's a little bit about what we're going to cover today in the short time that we have together. The purpose of this EECBG program, details about this specific RFP, required documentation and submission materials, again, opportunities to ask questions, and finally the timeline and next steps for moving forward. So a little bit about the EECBG program, the Energy Efficiency and Conservation Block Grant. It's like quite a long thing to say, but EECBG is administered by the U.S. Department of Energy, specifically under its Office of State and Community Energy Programs. The Department of Energy launched this program to provide cities, counties, states, tribes, and territories with flexible financial support to improve energy efficiency in buildings and infrastructure, reduce greenhouse gas emissions, lower energy costs for residents and businesses, and advance innovative local clean energy solutions. This program was originally created by Congress in 2007 and has since been revitalized under the bipartisan infrastructure law, which reauthorized additional funding to the program. For Birmingham, this program represents both a chance to address climate and sustainability goals and a way to strengthen our workforce pipeline, particularly by supporting our youngest workers. Birmingham is creating the Green Apprenticeship Program, making use of its EECBG award. The program will support the local green economy, provide training and job opportunities in clean energy industries, and lastly, equip residents, especially young people, with the skills they need for future careers. The project goals are pretty simple and it's outlined in the RFP, but just to provide a little bit of an overview and a review for those who have already gone through the RFP, we will develop a green economic development strategy that identifies opportunities that are specific to the Birmingham market. Establish a youth apprenticeship program that aligns with clean energy pathways. So again, building off of the first goal, establishing a youth-focused apprenticeship program based on local market trends. Create a structured curriculum that prepares students for long-term success in clean energy sectors, and deliver data and insights that will guide future workforce planning and investment. For this project, we're looking for proposals that deliver 3 key outcomes. Let me walk through each of these a little bit more in detail. First, a comprehensive landscape analysis and industry prioritization. This means we need a deep dive into Birmingham's local assets. Again, looking at local labor markets. It's a Monday, I'm sorry. And truly understanding the opportunities for Birmingham. So we'll be asking the contractor to look at local assets, market opportunities, clean energy in the clean energy sector that hold the highest potential for growth. Think of this as creating a roadmap. Which industries such as solar, building efficiency, electric vehicles, or advanced manufacturing make the most sense here in Birmingham, given our workforce, our infrastructure, and our economic development goals. The analysis should go beyond just what national trends are, what's new and what's flashy, and really reflect Birmingham's specific realities. Second, an inventory of educational and training programs. We want a clear picture of what already exists. Programs in high schools, college, trade schools, nonprofits, and employers. What's that low-hanging fruit that we should really be capitalizing on? Then we'd like that to connect to the clean energy sector fields. Alongside that, we need a gap analysis. Where are the missing links? Where should we be focusing our energy? For example, if there's a strong classroom training but limited work-based learning, or if certain neighborhoods lack access to programs, we need that to be called out. This will help us understand where investment is most needed. Third, a youth-centered apprenticeship design. At the heart of this RFP is creating a program that gives high school and early college students real pathways into clean energy sectors. We're not asking for a training outline. We want a thoughtful design that connects classroom learning, industry demand, and long-term employability. Ideally, this should include elements like career exposure activities, mentorship, hands-on training, and employer commitments. Ultimately, we are asking for a set of outcomes that are practical, data-driven, but most importantly, implementable. These deliverables should give the city a foundation we can build on, not just a 7-month project, but something that can be used for years to come. So now to the nitty-gritty, your technical proposal. Your technical proposal should clearly outline your team structure, any relevant experience that would make you the ideal candidate for this role, example of any past work or problems your proposal would address. We'd like to know a little bit more about your organization's interest in this project, your proposed timeline and approach, and 3 current references. Included in your proposal, we'd also like a signed cover letter, financial sustainability documentation, and any supplemental materials. There is a section with required attachments and forms on page 20 under section 10 of the published RFP. Please sign and complete attachments A through F to accompany your RFP submission. Finalists will be invited to present their plan in more detail. Alongside your technical proposal, you'll be asked alongside your technical proposal, you'll be asked to submit a separate price proposal. Please note that proposals that reference cost in the technical section will be disqualified. We'd like for you to separate your price proposal and your technical proposal. The city anticipates awarding one contract not to exceed $255,000. The project will begin upon contract execution and must be completed within 7 months. Payments may be tied to payments from the city may be tied to successful completion of milestones. All proposals are due no later than 5 p.m. Central Time on Friday, September 26th. You may submit by email or mail. Please note that late proposals, even partial submissions, will not be considered. So to add a little bit of color here, if you are to submit a proposal, let's say tomorrow, because you're an early bird, and you decide that you want to update your price proposal and you do so after the 26th, we will be going off of what you submitted prior to the deadline. So that's what we mean by partial proposals. And so the best bet is to get it in early before 5 p.m. Central Standard Time on Friday, September 26th. And again, late proposals, late submissions will not be accepted or considered. Proposals will be reviewed in 2 stages. First, we'll confirm that your submission meets all the minimum requirements, such as all of the required documentations and signatures. And so I would encourage you to go back through the RFP and look at all of the minimum qualifications and what's being asked of you, and to make sure that your proposal includes all of those. Then eligible proposals will be evaluated by a committee based on comparative criteria with ratings assigned for each area of your technical proposal. Let's see. Oh, I think I just took us back a little bit. Hold on one sec. Okay. So here's the evaluation. This is the minimum evaluation criteria that I mentioned. And I think just before I move on to the next slide, in terms of like when we go back to your technical proposal, your price proposal, and the evaluation criteria, is that the RFP outlines everything that you're going to need to submit for this proposal, but it is up to you on how you package that information. And so I would encourage you to go back and look at the requirements and to make sure that all of this is clearly outlined in every section, because again, we will not submit incomplete proposals, and those proposals that one, don't include full and completed responses to all of the elements in the technical proposal, which is outlined in section 3, will not be considered. If you do not have a signed cover letter, and it being signed by the authorized representative. And if it is not, you know, delineated your technical proposal from your price proposal, that won't be accepted either. And then we need an agreement of, and that would be all of the items A through F in that 10th section of the RFP. So again, please just make sure that you're going through this and covering each one of those areas. Okay, all questions. So this is going back to the initial, in the beginning of the presentation, we talked about questions. I'm going to go through a little bit about how you can submit questions and how we get your questions answered. So all questions must be submitted in writing by Friday, September 19th. That's this Friday. And it doesn't matter. You can, you know, as long as it's Friday, there's really no time period. So I guess midnight, or 11:59 p.m. on Friday. Please send them by email to Sarah Wilson, me at sarah.wilson@birminghamal.gov. That's Sarah with an H, .wilson@birminghamal.gov, with a subject line with the title of the RFP and your question and the word question. That way we'll know to separate that as a question and prioritize reading that. We are asking at this time that you do not call with questions, that you strictly submit questions in writing, so that for transparency's sake, we can make sure that everyone, when we answer all of those questions, everyone has the same answers. We'll compile the questions and the responses and make those publicly available so that all applicants have access to the same information. The questions will be posted on our website under the bidding page where the RFP is currently posted, and on our departmental page of the City of Birmingham's website. And then a little bit of a summary of key dates to remember as we close out the RFP process. The RFP has been open now for a little bit over 2 weeks, or almost 2 weeks. We're at the pre-bid webinar now. Questions are due this Friday, September 19th. We will post all of the questions next Tuesday, September 23rd, on our website, which is birminghamal.gov. The page is the IEO, the Innovation and Economic Opportunity subpage. And again, you can find that on the bidding page. But if you have any questions on where to access that information, you can always send us an email. The proposals are due no later than 5 p.m. Central Standard Time on Friday, September 26th. And we anticipate wrapping up contract award and project launch at some point this fall. And so we are hoping to make a vendor selection by the end of next month, so that we can begin the contracting process and the work can begin. And I just wanted to note too that I keep saying firm or contractor, but we are accepting proposals from independent contractors. So it could be an individual or groups of contractors or partnerships of multiple researchers working together on this. However you decide to structure your application is up to you. And the competitiveness will be based on the information, the project plan that you submit. Not necessarily, we don't necessarily have a preference for an individual contractor or a group of contractors. It's more the quality of the proposal that the entity submits. Awesome. Well, thank you for your interest in partnering with the City of Birmingham, especially on this important initiative. We're really hoping to do some amazing work here. I think that together we have the opportunity to really strengthen our green economy and create sustainable pathways for youth to enter into high demand, future focused careers. We look forward to reviewing your proposals, and I am going to leave the webinar up for a few more minutes if there's any more lingering questions for us to capture. Otherwise, thank you for your time and have a wonderful rest of your day.